Well, good evening, my friends on Facebook land. Baxter here with you, Train with Baxter. Been a little while since I've been on here, since the last week. In fact, I do believe I need to apologize for that. But there were some things in life that come up that I had to be taken care of. And anyway, I kind of missed doing all this, and I want to get back into it because I certainly need to do that. This is part of my business, and I want to make sure that I'm here and committed to those of you who are following along and watching these things that I'm hoping that I've given to you. I'm hoping that they are being of benefit to you, because that's what I indeed want to do, is to help you grow while I grow, and we grow together, and we become a lot of different things that we ought to be in whatever field that you are in. I'm sure some of you have a multi-level marketing, or as it's called, network marketing program, as I do as well. Belong to one, not working it real hard at the moment, but I intend on changing that. But anyway, today, as I kind of got things back in normal stance, and I began to go, and I went down and done the lawn that I do every week for a church, excuse me, and then went to the track to do my workout. And I was listening to my podcast of JT DeBolt. I like him. I've been listening to him for a year. He's got a lot of great information, and he does a lot of good things, and is actually joined the company that I'm with now. And so that's a very good thing, because I met him firsthand in Orlando not too long ago, in fact. But one of the things that he talked about today, as it came on, just happened to come onto the one, it's actually so far behind on listening, it was like August the 3rd. That was over a month ago. But anyway, so the one that he did today, as you see here, as I have on the board, is the big difference between the understanding of pros and amateurs. Now listen to this thing. It's about 15 minutes long. He covers a lot of territory in there. I'm only going to do the first one he covered tonight, because I want to keep this short, and I didn't make any notes. I don't want to lose anything out of that doing that whole long program as he did. I'll break it down into pieces and deliver it to us. But it also helps me to think as I go along. But there's a big difference here, and he got this from a book. Let's see, what's the guy's name? Stephen Pressfield, in a book about becoming pro, I believe he said. And he identified the differences between amateurs and pros. And so the very first thing that he talked about there is that what we find now, as I put these on this side where they are, I'm on backwards here, is that the things here, the amateurs, the first thing they like to do is that they like to be distracted. They like to be tempted. And the two kind of go together. And I can say that I fairly well know these things, because what he pointed out was that we're in this business because we want to change, we want to become better, we want to become pros at what we want to do. We want to become professional entrepreneurs. And there's many things that have to change in our life to be able to get to that stage. And his version of attraction marketing is that you have to change to become the person you want to be, so that you can attract the type of people to you that you want in your life and in your business as well. And so he said we become distracted and tempted when we are amateurs. And I fully understand that, because these are the people, he said, that spend an inordinate amount of time on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Snapchat, all these here things that would go in there, and you're just going to go in and you're going to do a little thing, and then all of a sudden you find out 40 minutes later, as you've read through this, you've seen that, you've seen this over here, you've checked on that, but you've not got any work done that you really anticipated on doing. He said these are the people that all the motivational things that they have, that you see and you read and you want to share, you got to repost, and you got to do this, you got to do that. He said these are the people who are definitely pulled away by these things, because first of all, they look good, and so therefore you are tempted by them, and that way when you are tempted by these things, you are then pulled away, and you get pulled into that little black hole of the loss of time, where these little gremlins hang on to you. And I know that's just what they always say, call them. The gremlins are the ones who tear up stuff and distract you and all that. And some people call them the time vampires, as they suck the time away from you. And you have, if you are working on Facebook and it is your platform to do your selling and so forth, then you have to be on there for an amount of time. But you have to learn to go on and do what you're going to do, get that done, and then get off of it, because it is a social media and we are social people. And so therefore it becomes very easily to be tempted to say, oh, let me see what John said. Let me see what Joe said. Let me see what Mary said. And we go through all those things, whatever it is. And there's a bunch of them out there that we go on, even watching YouTube. You go to learn one thing if you don't know it. And then they got this list of stuff down under it that says, here, you might also like this, just like that Amazon does, you know. And so you click on this and you click on that. And again, you sit there for 2 hours and you've got no work done. And that's a sign of an amateur. And that's really called procrastination. And we do that because we have a fear of some sort. Okay, and that could be different things. It depends on what it is. Brian Tracy used to talk about in the salespeople, when I listened to one of his tapes, he said that instead of the salesperson coming in, getting their stuff and getting out, getting knee to knee and nose to nose with a person by 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning, whatever is the most efficient time, he said that they want to go in and they have to shuffle their business cards, straighten up their desk, got to file this paperwork. Instead of doing the important work, they become distracted and they're tempted, and it's something that's in them that's causing that. Whereas he says, and that's procrastination, and we'll say that there. And so whereas on this side here, if we look at what the pros say, he said the pros, or what the pros do, the pros are disciplined and they are focused. And I said to myself, that's where I want to be. I want to be to that state more so than I am now. So I've actually been, after I got through all my stuff today, I've actually been sitting down and working on my whole stuff for almost 8 hours, setting my timer like I know to do. I have a daily DMO that I'm supposed to follow that I learned from Dr. Bob Clark, who was my first coach for a little while, and probably will be again, as I enjoyed working with Dr. Bob. And by the way, we all need a coach. You really do. You need a coach, a mentor of some sort, because we get stuck inside our head, we get stuck inside of our home, and we're not doing what we ought to do. And they're the ones who are going to say, okay, pull yourself out of this hole and let's get going. And so this is what pros do. Pros are disciplined. When they go on to Facebook or when they go to sit down, they take and they do one thing at a time. They're very disciplined and focused on that one thing until they get it done, and they don't quit until they get the amount done they need to get that day, or they get the whole program done. It depends on which one it is that they have in mind. So pros are very disciplined, very focused. They have their mindset on that. They do not allow Facebook to distract them because they understand there is a pain that comes or that is associated with procrastination. And whenever you are in a state of procrastination and you don't get no work done, and that's your profession, that's your livelihood, then you begin to feel bad about yourself. And you don't like that. So you want to go back, you want to make sure you stay focused on these things. And a way to get focused, I learned from Dr. Bob Proctor, not doctor, but from Bob Proctor. He said, and also this is taught also in many martial arts fields, is that when you're sitting in a chair and all is quiet, take and light a candle and set it right out in front of you so that you can have the flame sitting there in front of you. And he said, just stare at that candle until you and the flame become one. He said the first time you do it, that you might have, you can only stay there for even a half a second. But we said when your mind wanders off, bring it back. You and the flame. Stay with that, and come back to the flame every time, because your mind is like this here highway out there, and all these things are running through it, just like as if you couldn't find so much stuff running through it, except for within an encyclopedia from Britannica. And so you have to learn to focus on one thing. So bring your mind back, and the more you learn how to focus on one thing, then you can change that over to something else and be focused over here as well on another thing, because you've trained your mind to stay with the one thing. so that you're not in procrastination, that you are, in fact, disciplined. You got a certain amount of work you got to do today. And what happens is, if you are an employee like I am during my daytime job, even though I'm a manager, I'm still an employee because another man owns the business. And there's a certain amount of things that we know we have to get done, and you go about doing that. But when it comes to your own business, there's nobody there cracking the whip on you. So you have to become that person. You have to become the boss, the worst boss you've ever seen. You have to treat your business like a business, and you have to be just as disciplined or more disciplined to get your work done and to stay focused on it until you get it done, or you will never move ahead. You will never get into that state where you're really truly able to help other people and do the things that you want to do that are going to progress you and break you into financial freedom and take you into that freedom that you want to have when you own your own business. And we don't want to just be business owners because then you just have another job. There's a level out there that you want to get to where you have others that are doing the things for you or set in automation so that you can then take on other things. So he said this is the first difference, and there was about 5 or 6 sets of things like this that he went through in his 17-minute period. But I wanted to break them down into single pieces as we go through this. That way they're not very long ago. They don't last very long, like I've been on here now for 10 minutes. And so we don't want to do that. We want to stay on these things. And so once again, let's go over this. The difference between the understanding of pros and amateurs is that amateurs are distracted and tempted. And we need to learn that if we don't want to stay there, if we're there now, let's recognize what it is, and let's try to work our way over here, begin to grow. So my hands are going over into things the other way. Let's work on this other way so that we can see that we need to be disciplined and we need to be focused on our work so we can pay attention to it and get it done as if we were a pro. Now, my friends, one of the things that we can do to start to learn how to do pros, to be a pro, is not only to stop trying to figure things out for ourselves in the beginning. There's a time for that when you get the knowledge in your head. But one of the things we can do is to follow proven track records. And if you're into marketing like I am, if you're in network marketing like many people are that are on here, then you want to be able to get leads. It's your biggest thing. There's a program, you'll see a link over to right above this video here, will take you to a free 10-day boot camp where it will show you a way to start attracting the right people to you so that you can then indeed start to be disciplined. You can start to be more focused because you'll have a system, you'll learn about a system that you can put in place that will help you to get to where you automate these things and will help you to get to where you can get the leads that you want to get for your business. So if you will, click on that link right there to download your free boot camp. And if you like this video today, please leave a comment below, or if you'd like some more information about these things, message me and we will indeed have a conversation. Thank you now, and we will see you next time, and it will not be so long, I promise you. Thank you.